Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome you all back to my channel. So, let's get into our very first storytelling. As you've known, I have been doing tech videos for quite a long time, and yeah, watching only tech videos is pretty boring when you are in a tech channel. So, why not spice things up and let's talk about the very first experiment that I almost failed and put my whole house on fire. So yeah, it was maybe back around 2014 or 2015. At that time, I was kind of pretty young, so I actually didn't have that basic knowledge that you don't actually play with electricity or currents. As because I did something pretty crazy. If you remember the Edison bulbs that Edison made very first time, and those were the basic fundamentals, the basic like the ground up for modern day lights. Yeah, those yellow bulbs that looks like an onion. However, I got a hold of them, one of them actually, and I also had a bunch of wires which was pretty thick if you consider putting them directly inside your socket. And yeah, I also had them, and I also had an old beat up broken down piece of holder to hold the light, which like to directly connect it to the electricity. And yeah, I kind of fixed it up using a spring, an old spring from a ballpoint pen, and maybe some bits of metal thing to like kind of work properly, to make it work properly actually. And yeah, I fixed that up, and then I connected the light bulb, and I also had a piece of styrofoam, I guess. Yeah, you call it styrofoam. I actually covered the whole inside of it with aluminum sheet, I guess, because aluminum foil, I guess, because it was pretty reflective, and it's still pretty reflective. However, it is pretty reflective, so I covered the whole thing with aluminum foil and then placed the light bulb inside it to like kind of work as a shade to like reflect the light at its maximum. And then I did something pretty stupid. I took the two ends of the wire, which was pretty naked, and like directly shoved them in the wall socket, and it blew up. It actually blew up like a firework. It was like a firecracker, like spreading the fire everywhere. And on the top of it, I did it on top of my study table, which had a lot and lot of copies to write on, and they were basically all heaps of paper. And you know something, that when you fire a paper, it actually spreads pretty fast, and that could have happened. Yeah, could have happened. But luckily, that did not happen. The thing literally sparked and like flew everywhere. But when they when they actually came in contact with the papers, they like actually cooled down, because traveling that distance, the air cooled the sparks down, and they were like basically stopped from getting the whole house on fire. But yeah, it was actually pretty horrific, because like people were sleeping in my house. They like literally jumped up from their bed and came to my room to like actually look at what was happening. And yeah, I was pretty terrified, and after that I did stop doing this crazy kind of things a bit. But I did actually experimented with stuff, but not at that extreme level. And let me tell you one thing, don't ever touch or play with electricity in with bare hands, or even when you are standing on a floor in bare foots, because the electricity directly travels through your body and reaches to the ground, and that's when you get a huge shock and you could even die. So yeah, if you want to do it at your own risk, and if you are not at that age, just have adult supervision to like actually guide you to whatever you are trying to do. However, that was all about the crazy story of how I was going to burn my whole house down, but I didn't. And yeah, if you guys have liked it, a comment would be pretty great, and please consider subscribing. That's all folks. Peace.